thank you very much, Keith. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate all the work that Keith's been doing and looking at our company. We've been a little, more than a little under the radar, to be honest, and that's by intention as we've started to build this company. So let me jump into this. Since we don't have a lot of time. But really, what we are is a small cap, well-capitalized, focused company in what's called the Delaware Basin area in the Permian Basin. For those of you, I'll show you a map here shortly so you can get it geographically where that is. It's in the western part of Texas, which I happen to grow up in, and it's about well, 2 or 3 hours from the Midland, Odessa area. If you're familiar with that, that's the only sort of larger area. But it's become, the #1 basin in the U.S. The Delaware and the Midland are both subsectors of the Permian. The Delaware has more recently become a focus of a lot of attention, a lot of investment, a lot of acquisitions. And therefore, we're very pleased to have gotten this asset. So I get asked the question a lot, how did we get this asset? Okay, so what we have right now is 4,000 acres, highly contiguous in the Permian Basin, okay? We also have a little bit of acreage in the DJ, but I'm gonna really focus on the Permian Basin. We just have a short period of time. So that special loans group that was talked about, so I'm very familiar because we found this asset in a special loans group, okay? And the previous company that I built, that's how I started it in 2009, similar period. It was about 30 million, and when I exited, it was about 3.5 billion in 2013. So this was a company that required significant recapitalization, restructuring, refinancing. We were able to do it in December and January. Oil prices were $25. You didn't have people out there paying the huge prices you have today. And our intelligence told us that it was an underloved area for a number of reasons, primarily the lack of infrastructure. But we were able to restructure and refinance about 60 million of debt. So in that process, worked very closely with banks, with the special loans group, and bondholders, et cetera. And so today we have a clean company, which I'll show you the balance sheet shortly. Today we have about roughly 20 million shares outstanding, but really the share count you should be looking at is the 40 million shares. We have a preferred that we issued in connection with the transaction, which will convert once we get our shareholder approval, which is expected in the next 30 days. We acquired this at a very attractive valuation, using 30,000 of flowing barrel, which is lower than most people usually use 40. It's still about 4,100 an acre. In today's environment, you're seeing prices per acre ranging from 30 to 50,000 an acre. For doing that, we completed a equity raise. We also have completed a very attractive term loan, which is at 6% for 3 years interest only, and very little covenants, only a debt to asset value covenant. So I'm going to kind of flip through these slides quickly. I think the other thing that when you look at, we have the assets, we have the balance sheet now, is the team, okay? Most importantly, and who is the jockeys that are going to guide this through. So I've got a lot of extensive experience, about 34 years now in the business, both on the management side and on the financial side. I actually worked for a number of years for CIBC. So I do have some Canadian roots in my background. And then on the board, we also have extensive technical experience. In fact, one of our lead technical advisors is Canadian in Calgary, who I worked with previously, and was head of exploration when we looked at a lot of we were in many shale plays in the U.S. The Permian by far is the best. And I'll explain to you why. So the last financing we closed, $24 million. We also just recently announced the debt financing, and then the $60 million of debt and preferred. Some of that was we exchanged for assets. So we converted to equity. We refinanced. So it was really what we would call in the United States a out-of-court restructuring, meaning it didn't go into a Chapter 11 process. We did this on a negotiated basis. And as you heard earlier about the banks and how difficult they are difficult to work with. Fortunately, I have a lot of experience in doing that and was able to navigate through some difficult times because of the experience I've had in doing these types of transactions in the past. I can tell you it's not easy, and particularly when oil hits 25 and you have the regulators breathing down the backs of banks in the U.S. particularly, it makes it much more difficult. But I can say that we were able to get to the finish line, probably one of, if not the only, small cap company that was able to do a transaction during that period of time. We've commenced drilling our first reentry. We have 19 vertical wells on our acreage producing and 2 horizontal wells. We can utilize these vertical wells to go in and recomplete horizontal drilling, which we call window pane fracking. This gives you an overview of the Permian Basin from a big picture and where we're located, which is in, that's the border of New Mexico on the up above. This is West Texas, Winkler and Loving County. This is more of a picture you can see with some of the players, the key players that are in the area. You have some very active private players, which are backed by private equity in the United States. Silver Hill would be one that's of note, that's gotten a lot of press lately. It's been for sale. Diamondback was rumored to buy it. Now it appears they backed away, but you know, in the $2 to $2.5 billion range, which would indicate a $40,000 to $50,000 per acre price. There's several others that are looking at it we know of. We actually have significant well data in because of those 19 vertical wells on our property, and we also have data sharing arrangements with Silver Hill. If you see the well located right below our acreage, and then to the south there's another well which is called the Silver Bullet. You'll see in there names like Felix. You probably don't know these names. It's a private company also. But then you'll see EOG, Anadarko, Shell, all in this area. Our capital budget is we will have 12 wells that we'll drill, and these are all in vertical well bores existing. They're very large well bores. We have to go in and clean them out, but they're anywhere from 10 to 15 inch well bores because they went way down deep to a zone that's called the Atoka. What we focus on primarily is the Wolfcamp area, and the reason that the Permian is so attractive and that it gets these high prices is, well, obviously the rock and the thickness of the rock, the productivity of the rock, but more importantly, we have multi zones in this basin. So one section could have 8 to 12 zones. From the upper being the Avalon Bone Springs to several different benches of the Wolfcamp, and then further even down below. So we're just starting to test all of that. Most of the drilling to date has really been done in the Wolfcamp, and that's where our initial wells will be, is in the Wolfcamp B and Wolfcamp A. And then we'll test the Avalon and Bone Springs. But there's lots of data now in the area. We're not doing anything that's stepping out in terms of well completions, well design, areas we're drilling. We have a lot of data that we get from our technical advisors as well as internal people that we have. Transaction pro forma, we have about $30 million of cash. We have a new credit facility of $30 million. We also have, if you'll look on the next page, about $30 million, roughly 25 of which is in warrants that we can call once our stock trades above 4. Right now we're trading in the 340, 350 range, and we're just commencing our drilling program. So we're very with some very friendly investors. Actually, about 70% of the investors that we placed this last placement were Canadian. So we like it up here, and so we can exercise that and bring in that capital. More importantly, we have a lot of access to capital. The Permian is very well loved in the U.S., and the ability to access the capital markets is very strong. So if we need to do that, we can, although we have no plans to do so at this point in time. So I think what you have here is really a ground floor opportunity that's is undiscovered. We will be uplisted here in the very near future to the NASDAQ OTC, and we're just getting recognized. I built a company before. We had 18 analysts covering us then. We're reaching out to those people, starting to get people looking at us in coverage, and expect to have that, and so that we will be more well recognized, particularly as we start our drilling program. Thank you.